Good afternoon, Dr. Rajesh. Welcome to Thoughtful Leadership Program by College Dunia. We are glad to have you on our platform. So, thank you, sir. So, for our viewers, I would like to tell a little about Dr. Rajesh. His present role is as a professor and a director at SIBM Bangalore. He is also an adjunct faculty with School of International Business and Entrepreneurship, Stevens University, Berlin. Dr. Rajesh was a part-time visiting faculty at IIM Ranchi from 2014 to 2018. He's a member of the Academic Council of Symbiosis International Deemed University, and he has also served as a member of the Planning and Monitoring Board of Symbiosis International Deemed University. Dr. Rajesh is a graduate of IIM Ahmedabad and holds a master's degree in economics and PhD degree in retailing. He has also audited the Harvard Business School GLO-COL program in 2015 on invitation from Harvard University, Boston, USA. He has more than 25 peer-reviewed publications in various national and international journals and 4 case studies with Ivy Publishing, Canada, and Harvard Business School Publishing, USA, to his credit. He has also presented research papers in various prestigious international conferences, including NACRA conference in Orlando, USA, ICSD conference in Oxford University, UK, and various national conferences in IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIM Calcutta, IIM Lucknow, and IIT Delhi, to name a few. He has been invited as a speaker in various industry and academic conferences like GES in association with CII, FICCI Higher Education Conference, ASMA Conference, Adobe Education Leader Seminar Thailand, Higher Education Technology Conference, New Delhi, etc. He has a vast experience in corporate training, research, and consulting with companies like Godrej, HUL, Infosys, ITC, IBM, Amdocs, Zensar, BMC Software, Wipro, Capgemini, BSCs, John Degrees, etc. Welcome, Dr. Rajesh, on our platform.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
So, to begin with our first question, sir, I would like to ask you, being the director of SIBM, what is your philosophy of leadership and how would you describe your leadership style?
Okay. In my opinion, leadership in a B school is probably a little different compared to leadership in a corporate world. So, being the director of SIBM Bangalore, I believe in a very flat organization with limited or probably no hierarchy. When it comes to delegation of responsibility and probably working towards the image of that institute, when I trust somebody's ability, I prefer to delegate and empower a person. If I can say, my experience tells me if a person performs, a person normally performs better when she or he is given a free hand, but at the same time he or she is accountable for the consequences. At the same time, I believe sharing my vision with all my faculty members, and so that they become a part of this process to shape the vision, and also feel an integral part of the processes that we follow in the college and the university. So we always talk about when you talk about leadership, we talk about you being a team player and vis-a-vis you have become a leader. So I think you don't have to lead from the front for each activity. We can sometimes act as a team player also and hand over the baton to somebody who is probably better than me in that activity. Then being in a B school with so many professors who are much more experienced and elder to you, so I believe that we have to be receptive and to the opinions of others and be respectful towards their views and opinions. And all those experience matter a lot, and that probably and those wisdom also help you in taking a decision. So in a nutshell, if I can say that, I believe in respecting the human for his or her work and the contribution that person makes to that institute, irrespective of her or his capability. So when we come to a workplace, I think we should all have respect for the work and for that workplace. So we initiated a cultural statement which said respect for work and respect at the workplace. So what translates into how do you behave in your workplace? So everybody behaves with each other person, irrespective of the rank or position, and people deal with each other in a dignified way. Even if there is an inadvertent error, or a breach of procedure by a colleague or a subordinate, it has to be handled in a very dignified way. And so I believe when our faculty members and staff have the respect for that workplace, then all other virtues like integrity, honesty, and dedication, they just automatically flow. So, and so they perform better. And even if they have to leave for some better opportunity, they still, go as an ambassador of the institute and they bear the flag. Yeah.
Sure. That's a really nice thought. So being the director of SIBM, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for the marketing and administration of your college?
Okay, marketing and administration of the college. Okay, so I believe an educational institution should not aim at marketing for its program, but the value that the value that a B school or an institute provides in a classroom and in the campus should probably speak of it. Yeah, but however, we need to inform the aspirants about various initiatives and innovations that we do at the B schools. And we normally follow mostly digital platforms and portals like yours, to convey those initiatives and those innovations. We have introduced 2 new programs this year, MBA Quantitative Finance and MBA Business Analytics. These are very niche programs. And I understand these 2 programs will add immense value to the institution and to that industry, at large. And such programs have been developed in consultation with the recruiters and identifying the need of that industry, which has also gone through that PRC, Board of Studies and Academic Council for refinement and subsequent approval. And but if you talk about administration, for a B school, I think it all revolves around providing a hassle-free operational environment to the student, and at the same time creating a very friendly culture for the employees.
Okay, sir. Okay. So the education system in India and foreign countries are structured very differently. In your experience, what can an inbound student gain from studying here in your institute?
Okay. Yes, this statement is definitely true, completely true for undergraduation. There is a big difference between India and foreign countries when we talk about about education. But when it comes to a post-graduation program, especially for an MBA program, probably, over the years we have tried to bridge that gap, and this is also partly because when IIM Ahmedabad started, it was mentored by Harvard, IIM Calcutta was mentored by Sloan. So, so subsequently, I think the MBA education in top B schools are more or less aligned to a global MBA education. But to be specific to the question, about the international students at SIBM Bangalore, as a policy, we accept 15% international students in each of our programs, and they mostly come from Afro-Asian countries. And what we do for them, probably I can say that they are made to feel like any other student in India, so, they feel like, they are with a bunch of people that they know, and the system and procedure probably accommodates them. So if I can say, our founder, Honorable Chancellor Sir, Dr. S.V. Mazumdar, who started Symbiosis with a motto of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, and he had this vision of creating a home away from home for international students. And I think we are all guided by the same vision. So an international student, when he comes to that institute, he imbibes the Indian culture, participates in various Indian festivals on campus, and also imbibes the Indian values. And I think most of them already understand that India is a big market when it comes to business, and there is a great opportunity for job also for them. Yeah, we also celebrate International Students Day on 31st July, where these international students are probably, involved more than our Indian students. They organize various events, and those revolve around language, culture, and dynamics of doing business across nations. So this adds value to both domestic as well as our international students. We have also a separate wing called SCIE, Symbiosis Center for International Education, and that supports these international students from visa processing to their stay in India. And end of the day, we aim at giving them an atmosphere, giving them an environment where they feel a home away from home, and learn Indian systems and values in addition to that education.
That's a really nice view, sir. Definitely really insightful. So any insights into how your college could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds?
Okay, welcoming. Okay. So as a policy, we are non-racist, non-communal, non-caste institute, or any none you can add to this. As I mentioned, with the motto of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, when we talk about the world is one family, so I can say we do not discriminate, we do not differentiate like any other good institute or university. But putting it simply, yes, everybody is welcomed with open arms. All of them stay in the same hostel, use the same facilities, and everybody is treated equally irrespective of their country of origin, language, and preferences. And that's a learning experience for everybody.
Okay, sir. So what do you think should be SIBM's top priority over the next 10 years?
Over the 10 years, okay. Yeah, so I can go on about this, but let me be brief on this. We want our students to shine and excel in that industry. We always believe the institute is defined by what our alumni perform in that industry. At least the reputation from that corporate is built by our students, by our alumni when they go and perform in that industry. So next 10 years, of course, our focus should be quality education, continuous improvement, and sustenance of all quality initiatives that we have taken and we are going to take probably in the years to come. And when I say quality education, I must mention about our academic philosophy, which at SIBM Bangalore, we call it SEAT, S-E-A-T. And SEAT stands for Sustainability, Ethics, Analytics, and Technology. So we at SIBM Bangalore believe that we must create a value-oriented individual who had sustainability and ethics as top priority. And when we say sustainability, we talk about economic sustainability, social sustainability, environmental sustainability. There is no point creating a huge organization and probably climbing up in the ladders and when you sacrifice your ethics. So ethics and sustainability are probably at the core of what you can say our teaching philosophy, I can say. So this is in a way we try to promote ethical leadership. At the same time, we understand that technology is going to play a very critical role in academics, in industry also. Hence, technology is an integral part of our education, both in pedagogy or you can say in academic delivery, at the same time in content that we teach in classes, and it is pretty clear that most businesses will be tech delivered or at least be empowered with technology in future, even in present. Then talking about analytics, we understand gut feeling, intuition is very critical for a leader. But in today's world, when there is a lot of data, a lot of information available, the analysis of that, the mathematics of the data, the analytics of the data helps in understanding the situation better, which probably sharpens your intuition and helps you in making a decision. So these four aspects of sustainability, ethics, technology, and analytics are going to be the focus of our academic content and academic delivery in pedagogy. And this is a continuous effort, and this has to be strengthened over the time. So as I mentioned, we have introduced 2 niche programs, and we look forward to introduce more niche program as that industry moves on and new areas probably come on. And at the same time, investment in technology will also continue, to create a seamless experience for student for both blended learning as well as for classroom learning. This all I talked about probably the dissemination of knowledge and creating a value system, but to us, the creation of knowledge, which is quality research and case studies, is very critical. Today we have got more than 9 case studies which are published by IB Publications, distributed by Harvard School Publishing. There are many quality research papers, which are published by our faculty members, listed in high-rated journals. So in nutshell, in short, if I can say that, yes, we are working towards creating socially sensitive techno managers. But in addition to that, we also give a lot of priority when it comes to knowledge creation.
Moving to our next question. When you first came to SIBM, what was your vision for the institution, and has it evolved over time?
Okay, so I joined SIBM Bangalore in 2013. And that point of time, the institute was just 5 years. And so that point of time, my vision, or I can say the joint vision for the institute, of course, with the support and guidance of the top management and the university, it was to establish SIBMB as an institute which is known for its academic rigor and research. So that was pretty clear that it should be a place where academics is taken very seriously and knowledge creation is probably equally important. And we could enhance our academic rigor through our pedagogy, which is use of blended learning and cases and simulations. In addition to that, students have to get involved in field projects and also student research publications. So when I say blended learning, I think today the situation has made it mandatory for everybody to go for tech-enabled learning. But we have been using blended learning, for maybe last 5 to 6 years. So a substantial part of our classroom teaching has actually moved to pre-recorded interactive videos that faculty provide to the students on a learning management system as pre-reading material before they come to the class. And the classroom sessions are mainly on case method of teaching. So basically we discuss about cases and simulations. And thanks to probably our tie-up with Harvard Business School Publishing for their case studies and simulations, probably we have been able to do this. We also hosted Harvard Business School for a case teaching workshop on our campus. A lot of effort has been given in terms of faculty training and empowering people in case method of teaching and integrating these technological tools into the pedagogy as well as the content. And this was probably about that academics to bring that academic rigor. At the same time, being in Bangalore way back in 2013, I could see that we had a huge dependence on recruiters from that IT industry. And so subsequently, we made an informed decision to diversify the recruiter base, mainly to de-risk ourselves from the business cycle, and also to provide huge options or more options to our students recruiters from FMCG, from consulting startups. So that probably students get an option from a variety of recruiters to choose from. And as we understand in a B school, corporate involvement has been one of the key criteria. So today, people from the corporate are involved, from admissions till placement, and even as a part of the academics, they are involved. And so if I can say what was my vision and how we have gone with it, then I can say that yes, the vision was to build an academic rigor and probably strengthen our research and have more corporate involvement. And that we have been doing, and this is not just a goal, but this is a continuous activity which we have been doing, and we will keep on doing it in future also. For research, we started something called as a Quest and Brownback seminars. These are basically intra-institute, involvement of faculty members for discussions on research and teaching. And this Quest and Brownback has actually helped to create an environment where faculty members collaborate and they teach subjects together and also participate or probably work on the research projects together. So as I mentioned, now we have got case studies published by Harvard Business School Publishing, and and many journals many papers in renowned journals. But yes, we are not complacent. I believe that good is the enemy of excellence, so we cannot stay as good. And we are comparatively a new institute. So yes, we have a long way to go. And our vision will keep on, probably it will change and it will keep on modified as we go.
Sure, sir. So moving to our next question, what would you like people to know about your institute that they may not know already?
Okay. So this is for the student. This is an era of social media. I think they learn a lot, from various platforms, and of course platforms like yours. But yeah, so what they should know about us? Yeah, we have completed 11 years in Bangalore now. And apart from a great mix of academicians and industry professionals to impart educations, we believe in making a social sensitive business leader and a techno manager. So for a student, the expectation should be, to be a good individual first, to be an individual who is probably sensitive to the societal requirements, and then a manager, but a manager who is equipped with the technical skills, analytical skills. So students groom themselves here in SIBM Bangalore as an holistic individual. The interactions in class and outside the class both are equally critical, which shapes their attitude and behavior to become a leader. As we say, this is an institute with a quantitative difference. There is a lot of emphasis is given on numbers, on mathematics, or on analytics. Yeah, so maybe these are something people may be discussing in social media, but yeah, I would love them to know.
Sure, sir. I hope they get to know about it as well. So what are some of the biggest challenges you see both for higher education in general and for SIBM specifically?
Okay. Yes. So as we say, every industry goes through changes. New innovations bring the changes. Sometimes they force you to probably bring out those changes. And today's world, we talk about technology. And if technology has disrupted industry, it has taught new ways of doing business. I think technology is going to be a big disruptor in academic delivery in times to come. And probably, this present COVID-19 situation has made everybody realize that the importance of technology in higher education, as an academic delivery. So this will create new opportunities for good universities. If other universities are not, they cannot gear up to the challenges, then there is a possibility of obsolescence. There is a possibility that they may not stay relevant in future. What I believe that education is that industry that probably uses industry some platform is not great technology. So maybe virtual reality and artificial intelligence in future may completely change and reshape the future of education. So we may not require 900 universities in India. Maybe we do not require more than 3,000 colleges, management colleges. So with the use of technology, education, especially the higher education, can actually be inclusive. It can actually break the geographical barrier, and can also break the barrier in terms of the economies, the cost of the education.
So moving to my next question, what are some of the biggest changes you see both for higher education in general and for SIBM specifically?
Okay, so like any industry, academics is also prone to change in technology. We have seen in last few years how technology has disrupted, the businesses, and probably new paradigms have probably come up. And I believe that technology is going to do the same to the higher education, right? So it can actually create an academic delivery disruption. And through these new opportunities probably may come up for good universities. At the same time, these colleges who cannot gear up to the challenges, probably they will become obsolete. right? So if we talk about academic delivery, I think academics or education as an industry, they have been using very basics of, or very what you can say, minimum technology in their academic delivery, right? So there may be a possibility that in future, virtual reality or augmented reality and artificial intelligence may completely change the future of education, right? Few good universities, through the help of technology, will be able to address to hundreds of thousands of the students simultaneously and breaking the geographical barriers. So students from every nook and corner of this country would be able to access to the best of the professors in best of the universities. It means we may not require 900 universities or 3,000 plus management colleges in India. Maybe just 100 universities or institutes will be able to cater to the requirement of this entire country. And this can completely disrupt the way academics is or higher education is in this country, or probably in this world, right? So classroom sessions are going to stay, but they may stay as a premium, costly, what you can say, face-to-face format. However, top-based schools may be able to address to hundreds of thousands of the students in various parts of the country through use of technology. And not necessarily it has to be an university. It can be IBM, it can be Amazon, or it can be Google, who can probably become one of the biggest universities by creating a platform. And through the platform, they can connect professors, universities, and students and corporate, together. So education will probably go beyond this boundaries of universities, and it can probably become more of what you can say, open source, or teachers can teach and students can learn, or in a platform, right? Well, I say that the classroom sessions may still stay relevant as a premium product, but there can be multiple, cheaper and more inclusive, formats of education may evolve. And that may probably create a big challenge for those universities and colleges who do not adapt to the technological changes. At the same time, if you talk about Generation Z or even the late millennials, they may require a completely different type of education. Okay, instead of a full-time 2 years of MBA, they may prefer in future a short 2 to 3 months courses, which can be skill or knowledge-based crash courses, which are immediately relevant for their job. And those type of modules may evolve, which will probably force the university to change their delivery models. And this is going to probably impact, or this is going to change the way we have been thinking about academics being given in class for 2 years on campus, to a small group of students. So there is a possibility of all these disruptions happening, in my opinion. And whether it is SIBM Bangalore or any other institute, we have to gear up to face these technological disruptions. These are opportunities, but at the same time, these are challenges. At the same time, these are also opportunities. So whoever probably is able to exploit these opportunities better will have, a say and an image in future.
Sure, sir. So moving to our last question, any suggestions you would like to give the current youth and the aspiring students?
Yeah, so current youth and aspiring students, there are no shortcuts in life. They have to work hard. There are no shortcuts in life. They have to work hard. But at the same time, I will say be curious. Be curious to know things which are not a part of your curriculum or not a part of your job description. And whether you are a student or you are working in that industry, be disciplined, learn to stay with ambiguity, because whatever way business used to be run in last 40 years, next 10 or 15 years, things are going to be very different. Hence, you have to be a lifelong learner. You cannot just cherish whatever you have learned in a B school, but you have to probably keep on learning forever. What you study in a B school, I'm talking about content, so may not stay relevant as industry and academia will evolve in future. So they must remember that what you learn in a B school should help in building your foundation. But the subsequent stories of the building that you probably create, or your success in corporate, or in your personal life, this all depends on how do you continue to learn. Continue to learn from your experiences, also learn from evolving paradigms in business. So learn to adapt. Don't stay, or don't be complacent based on your past glory. Change is the biggest constant. Adapt and change.
Sure, sir. It was very nice having you on our platform. We learned a lot about SIBM and you. So it was very insightful. It's a very insightful discussion. Thank you for coming on our platform.
It's a pleasure, Apurva. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It was lovely interacting with you. Thank you so much.